Hey students, Colson Glover, the Mountaineer mascot. It is College Exploration Week here in West Virginia, and being an in-state student attending West Virginia University, I thought I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about my experience and how I found my home at WVU and how I began my collegiate career in bettering my education with a bachelor's degree here at WVU. So I have a few questions that I'm going to answer for you guys. Hopefully some of you might be in similar shoes that I can walk you through, because I was a high school student or, looking into going to college not that many years ago. I'm only a junior, I'm only 20 years old, so I can relate with a lot of you guys. So hopefully by me answering some of these questions, it might answer some of your questions, and you might think twice about looking into a college like WVU in the future. So these three questions are, my first question is, what was your experience applying to college, specifically at WVU? So my experience to applying to college was, like a lot of people, I knew I wanted to go to college since I was little. I always knew that I kind of wanted to better myself and kind of further my educational career. I was very much so involved with science in high school, so I really knew I wanted to keep going with my education and learn more. I wasn't always set on WVU. I grew up in a small town in West Virginia called Lewisburg, so I'm just a small town kid, and my high school graduating class had about 250 people in it. So I wasn't used to being, in these big crowds like some students are. So I was really nervous about coming to a college that was big. So WVU, being a college that has, 30,000 plus students, I was intimidated because I was nervous about being lost in the shuffle or being just a number. I had heard stories that, you go to a big college like that and you are just a number, you are just a tuition to them. And I was skeptical. I was nervous being a small town kid from Lewisburg. So I really was afraid of going to that big campus. That was my initial thoughts in high school. But my family went to WVU, so I knew I had to at least tour WVU, see what it's about, see what it's like, see if it's the right fit for me. So I scheduled my tour as a junior in high school, and WVU was the first college on my list. So I walked onto campus and I began my tour. I toured the downtown campus, the Evansdale campus. I met with some of the students, and I quickly realized that my fears of this big bully college was irrational, and I wasn't going to experience that at a college like WVU. And I say it a lot. If you hear from President Gee, he will say it a lot. WVU is a Goldilocks institution. And what we mean by that, referring to the Goldilocks story, it's not too big, it's not too small. So the great thing about WVU are there are ways that you can make it smaller. For example, you can join the Honors College. By joining the Honors College, you are having a lot smaller class sizes, and I was having classes with 12 or 13 people in it, just like I was getting back in Lewisburg. So it wasn't much of a scary transition to 400 people in a classroom, because I could take classes with smaller class sizes. Now, so it was still small, but it still had the connections of a bigger land-grant institution. So you might have heard that WVU is an R1 research land-grant institution. So with that, by going to a college that is a bigger institution, you have connections that you might not get at some of these smaller schools. So for example, one of my favorite things about WVU is the opportunities it allows the students to be a part of. So outside of being the Mountaineer, I also do research with the Rockefeller Neurosciences Institute. So I might not have been able to get that kind of experience if I didn't attend one of these bigger universities that have those ties. Not to mention the huge alumni network that WVU has. By being a part of that bigger institution, when you graduate, there is all kinds of alumni across the United States that can help you out in finding a job or finding an internship, whatever you're seeking after you graduate. So that's something to think about when you're joining your college. What's going to better prepare me for when I'm out of college, I'm out of schooling, and I'm looking for a job or I'm looking for the next opportunity? Which college is going to better prepare me for that? So the second question, what was your experience attending WVU as an in-state student? So I think I touched on this a little bit in the first question. But being an in-state student, WVU obviously was the college, and it's the big college in the state of West Virginia. I'm sure you know that if you're a West Virginia student. So I like the affordability of the college, I will say that. Being an in-state student, being a land-grant institution, it is a university for any student in West Virginia to get an extra education, So if you are looking to further your education, WVU, most likely, if you're an in-state student, will be very affordable. So that was one of the things I really loved about WVU. The second thing is, like I was talking about earlier, the opportunities it provides for its students. So I talked about research. I'm not going to talk about that again. But there's also so many clubs. There's so many ways to get involved. We have clubs like the disc golf club. We have clubs like there's an equestrian club. There's club softball. There's a Cheddar Bay Biscuit Club, if that's what you're into. There's so many ways you can find groups of students at WVU to hang out with and get involved and better yourself outside of simply being an engineering, chemistry, sociology, whatever major. So there's also great opportunities like being the Mountaineer mascot. I wouldn't have been able to get this great opportunity if I wouldn't have attended this university. So WVU goes above and beyond to put their students first and really allows their students to strive outside of just being a student and find other opportunities and ways to get involved with your community. Now, my last question, I'll get off here, I don't want to keep you guys too long, is why WVU? More specifically, why do you stay at WVU? So I have been asked this question many times as a student and as the Mountaineer mascot. Why did you choose to go to WVU? Why did you stay at WVU? Why should a prospective student attend West Virginia University? And the best answer that I could give to anyone that is asking that is it feels like home. And if you haven't toured WVU, then you really don't know what I'm talking about. And I so much encourage you to step foot on this campus because like I was alluding to in the first question, I was worried. WVU is a big school. Morgantown's a big place. And I was afraid that stepping foot on campus, I was going to be lost in the shuffle. But none of that was true. I stepped foot on campus. I was with mom and dad. I got on that tour bus. I met other people. And I immediately felt like I was home. I knew I belonged in Morgantown. I knew I belonged to this university. WVU has some of the most welcoming student body, some of the most welcoming members of the community there is. Morgantown is a great place to live. It is a safe place to live, which is important. You don't feel worried about walking in downtown to grab a bottle of milk from the CVS. You don't feel worried about going out one night or maybe going to a party or whatever. It's a great university with a great community. And stepping foot here, I am very confident that you will feel the same way I do. This is home. This will always be home. West Virginia University is my home, and I hope it can be your home for the future too. So let's go Mountaineers. I hope I answered some of your questions. If I didn't, feel free to reach out to me on social media or any way you can get a hold of me. Say hi at a Mountaineer game, whatever. I'd love to talk to you more about the great campuses that WVU offers. Let's go Mountaineers.